Alright. Feristras. The old dwarf doesn't react to your presence as you approach. As he gazes over the landscape, a deep frown set in his face. It's a pleasant view. Might be nice to take a break and watch the landscape. They glance at us. This view, it may look beautiful to you. To me, it reminds me of how long we've been gone. I barely recognize this landscape. I grew up here when it was called the Broodlands. I used to tend the life shrine so many years ago. Then we left to help safeguard the mortals. What did it feel like to leave the Dragon Isles? The reason I'm here, looking over this alien landscape, because for such a long time I dreamed about returning here. This was my home. I never expected that we'd be gone for so long. After a while, I never expected to return. How does it feel to be back then? You could probably remember where you grew up, the smell of your parents cooking, or can remember playing with your friends who lived close by. Now imagine that you've forgotten how to get to your childhood home. You can never visit again. You can never walk the paths of your childhood. Perhaps you think me overly sentimental. You try living for 10,000 years, never being able to visit your home, finally visit it, only to find it completely different, and then come back to me. Draenei! Draenei! What? He has unique voice lines for the Draenei? Hell yeah. Although, there's enough war in this existence that maybe you do know something about that. Oh, that's cool. I need to know what his Draenei lines are then, because that's exactly what happened to the Draenei, ain't it? 10,000 years is a long time. 10,000 years. I can barely believe it's been that long since we left. Is it... I get the bland text because I'm a human, yeah? Oh, yeah, okay. You can't imagine how awful the time was. The fear that surrounded us, the sundering, the betrayal of the Black Dragonflight, the Dragon Wars. What about the Dragon Wars? The Dragon Wars, you may call it something different, but I was there, and that's what I call it. All the Dragonflights versus the Black Dragonflight. Yeah, but then we miss out on the good shit, Commando. You would think it would be an easy fight, 4 versus 1 after all, even with the Demon Soul. The Blue Dragonflight was nearly destroyed in Elfarian's initial strike, so 3-1. Still great odds until you realize what it was like. Good morning, Sailboat. Hello there, thank you for the gift of subby Steam. Enjoy your pets. What do you mean, though? You only know Nelfarian as Deathwing and his brood as mad evil beings. We knew them before they fell. This wasn't some unknown menace. This wasn't some great evil looming like the Legion was. These were our friends, our loved ones. That sounds awful. It was awful, not knowing what's going on, thinking there was something you could do to snap them out of it. They were my friends, and they were killing my brothers and sisters. You had friends in the Black Dragonflight? I had many friends in that Dragonflight. Some as close as clutch mates. Growing up, we used to play pranks on the elders. I remember one time we coated Electron's tail in honey while she slept and, what does it matter? My best friend was of the Black Dragonflight. We intermingled a lot back in those days. Not like now, where most flights keep to themselves. Tell me more about your friends. Isn't it funny? I can't remember her name. I can't remember her face. I can't remember how the light bounced off her beautiful scales, but I can't remember her name. Was it Onyxia? I can remember the horror when I came home to find her standing over the bodies of my family. Practically her family. I can remember the gut-wrenching despair as I plunged my claw into her throat. And I remember the hate in her eyes as the light went out in them. But I can't remember her name. I always wondered, if I'd been a better friend, could I have prevented it? Did she not feel like she could have come to me as she felt the corruption starting? Abyssian was cleansed. There must have been something I could have done. But she didn't come to me. Must have felt she couldn't talk to me about it. Spoilers, by the way, Abyssian's been cleansed. If I had been a better friend, if I had told her... Oh, Titans. If I had told her how I felt, could it have gone differently? I loved her. With my draconic heart. And I can't remember her name. Thank you for listening to me, young one. I appreciate it more than you can know. Thank you for listening to me. Don't worry, no more stories. When we left this place, I left a time capsule of sorts. Would you be able to retrieve it for me? We left it at the bottom of the Ruby Life Shrine. I hit it with a sigil. Okay. What dragon is he mentioning? Oh, new storyline. There's no... like, it's a dragon that they had to kill. Like, that's the whole point. And, of course, it also adds a... it adds depth to the corruption of the Black Dragonflight. So, Neltharion, their aspects... embraced the powers of the void 20,000 years ago in the war against the elementals, the proto-elemental dragons, Razagev and all that. And then during the War of the Ancients, his madness was revealed as he turned the dragon soul against all of his fellow aspects of the dragons. I hear that they haven't changed the dragon sounds off the RP bar. Nice. But that was 10,000 years ago. And as Neltharion embraced the old gods, the madness did not just go to the aspect, but it went throughout the entire flight. Now, some way, somehow, Sibelian got cleansed of it. Sibelian. But I don't know if they've actually given a reason as to why they were cleansed. So he now wonders, like, could I have done something else? And it shows that the dragon aspects, the Black Dragonflight, wasn't instantly cast aside, and that the whole line of... for Neltharion's madness, they were, you know, hunted down to near extinction. It shows that it wasn't an easy choice to be made. Which I really like. Adds a lot of depth to that history, right?